Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here, and in today's video, we're going to be breaking down the NBA slate on Draftkings and Yahoo for Saturday, March the 13th. We're going to run through Saturday's 7-game slate, break it all down team by team like we always do. Just before we do get started with the breakdown, guys, as always, I would appreciate it if you would hit that like button down below. If you are new to the channel here, be sure to click that subscribe button as well. Click the notification bell so that way you do get notified every time I upload. You never miss out on any of my new videos, and you also get notified every time I do go live. Now, I'm not sure if I'll be live streaming this afternoon. It's the weekend. Sometimes I don't stream on the weekends. We'll just have to wait and see. But if I do go live, I probably will be live, around 4 o'clock Eastern time, normal time. Talking through the slate once again with you guys, breaking down everything. But yeah, we can go ahead and start off with the Detroit and Brooklyn game. We're going to go, game by game rather quickly, just kind of give my early thoughts on Saturday's 7-game slate. So starting off on the Detroit side and looking at Detroit today, this is a really good matchup for the Pistons against this Brooklyn team. So there are some guys on the Pistons that I do have interest in today. Jeremy Grant, if he was a little bit cheaper, I think he'd be someone I'd want to get to. Is $7,700. That price tag, it's appropriate. I feel like it's not like he's underpriced or anything. We know Jeremy Grant has upside. He's been a guy that, can go out there and put up 45, 50 fantasy points any night. It is a really good matchup. I definitely think the upside is there for Jeremy Grant. So he is in play. If he was like 7K, I think I'd have a lot more interest. 7,700 lowers my interest a little bit. But like Mason Plumlee, it is a really good matchup against Brooklyn. Brooklyn, always been a team that you can target down low. They've always struggled to defend big men. Plumlee did have a huge game against the Nets earlier this season. I think Plumlee's viable. Is he my favorite center option? No, but I think he's someone you can look to at 6,200. But the real guy I think that stands out, especially on DraftKings, Delon Wright, 5,500. I like Delon Wright quite a bit here. First game back, he was out for a while. He was out, I believe, almost a month. He played February 19th. His first game back was on March 11th. That was their first game back from the All-Star break. Delon Wright only played 22 minutes in that game. It was a close game. He did have 4 fouls in 22 minutes. I'd assume they were kind of easing him in a little bit, given it was his first game back from injury. But today, I think he definitely is going to get more than 22 minutes. He should get probably closer to 30 minutes. Dennis Smith Jr. has been ruled out for the Pistons, so that is pretty impactful in terms of minutes for Delon Wright, because Dennis Smith Jr. was getting about 20 to 22 minutes off the bench. I think Wright is going to get a few more minutes with Dennis Smith Jr. out. We should see Saben Lee play a little bit more, but I don't really want to target Saben Lee on the slate. 5,500 though for Delon Wright. If he's going to be playing anywhere near 30 minutes, especially in a good matchup against Brooklyn, 5,500, that's too cheap for him in my opinion. So he's the guy I really like from Detroit on DK. He definitely stands out. I don't mind him on Yahoo either. He's priced appropriately there at $20, but I think, definitely a solid option at point guard if you do want to go to him on Yahoo. But yeah, I really like Delon Wright. I think Jeremy Grant's in play. I think Mason Plumlee is in play. That's probably it, though, for this Detroit team. I don't see too much else I like on Detroit here. So we can go ahead and move on to the Brooklyn side. With Brooklyn, it's really the top two guys, Harden and Irving. On this slate, I don't know if Harden's going to be like a top stud option for me. There are some other guys I like, ahead of him. You have Giannis against the Wizards. You have like Trae Young in a really good matchup against the Kings. You have Fox on the other side of that game. Obviously, Harden is going to go out there and dominate almost every night. We've seen the upside that he has with KD off the floor. He had a bad game last game against Boston, but I wouldn't let that scare me off of Harden here. We know we're getting triple-double upside for him almost every night. He's put up a triple-double in literally 2 of their last 3 games. He was 2 assists shy of a triple-double last game. Harden's basically a lock to give you 45 to 50 points. Obviously, he has way more upside than that, though. Can go out there and put up 65, 70 any night. With KD still out, him and Kyrie are going to be running the show. Kyrie's been priced up at 9,700, so I think with him coming up in price, I would definitely just rather get to Harden. Harden's usually the guy I always prefer to go to between him and Kyrie. I don't really like too much else, though, on this Brooklyn team. Like DeAndre Jordan, probably going to play like 26 to 28 minutes. It is a good matchup, so you could maybe target him, but there's other centers I think I'd rather play. It's really just, it's Harden and Kyrie, and mainly Harden is the guy I'm looking to on Brooklyn today. So moving on to the next game, Toronto and Charlotte. So on Toronto, we do know that Fred VanVleet, Pascal Siakam, and OG Anunoby are still going to remain out for this game. They're out for health protocols. They're going to continue to be out today. So the guys that we've been playing with all them out, we can look to again, Kyle Lowry, 8,700, Norman Powell, 7,300, Boucher, 6,600. I think all these guys, they've they've slowly seen their price increase, but still they're definitely at price ranges where they're, still very solid plays in my opinion. Lowry on DK, I would say, at his price of almost 9K, he's probably my least favorite of those three. On Yahoo, though, I think Lowry looks really good over there. He's too cheap on Yahoo. $33 for Kyle Lowry with all these guys out. Like, I'm going to keep playing Kyle Lowry every slate on Yahoo until they, put his price where he should be. With these guys out, he should be like close to $40. He's still way underpriced over there. So love Lowry on Yahoo. I like him on DK as well, but not as much of a priority where he's been priced up to, almost 9K. Norman Powell, though, I think is still, he's more underpriced than Lowry for sure on DK. $7,300 for Norman Powell, in my opinion, is still too cheap. I mean, we've seen the upside that he has with all these guys out for Toronto. Last 3 games, he's played huge minutes, 38, 37, 39 minutes. He's been very productive, 46, 39, and 45 DraftKings points. $7,300 is still too cheap. I mean, he should be closer to 8K with all these guys out, especially with how well he's playing, with all the usage he's getting, with how many minutes he's playing. I really like Norman Powell. I think he's my favorite Raptor on DK. He's also very appropriately priced, or I wouldn't say appropriately. He's also too cheap on Yahoo. Him and Kyle Lowry both. $27 for Norman Powell. That's definitely way too cheap. So really like Norman Powell as well. Chris Boucher, $6,600. I think we can definitely look to go right back to Boucher. I mean, last game, even coming off the bench, he played over 30 minutes once again. 35 minutes the game before that. He's been really productive their last 2 games, 38, 50 DraftKings points. We know Boucher has a ton of upside when he gets minutes, and the minutes are going to be there right now. Without Siakam, I expect Boucher to play probably 28 to 30 minutes off the bench, maybe even a few more than that. It's a really good matchup against Charlotte. Really like Chris Boucher here. I think he's a very strong option as well. And then Aaron Baines, he's actually been getting really good run lately, and I think it's going to continue. It seems like they want to give him the minutes while Siakam remains out, and while OG and Fred VanVleet are also out. Just the last 3 games, 24, 29, and 30 minutes for Aaron Baines. He's going to continue to start and probably get closer to 30 minutes, especially if he's playing well. Obviously, good matchup for Aaron Baines here too. Him and Boucher, I do like in this matchup against Charlotte. Charlotte's always been a team I've looked to attack with big men. Big men have always been able to do well against the Hornets. So $4,500, the price is slowly creeping up, but if we're going to be getting about 30 minutes from Aaron Baines, with all these guys out, he should be about a fantasy point per minute player. Still, it does feel a little bit too cheap on both sides, so I also really like him from the Raptors. He's also too cheap on Yahoo, close to minimum salary over there, $11 at center. I think if you're looking for a cheap option at the center position, Aaron Baines, he looks great today, so Lowry, Norman Powell, Boucher, Aaron Baines, I think all these guys from Toronto are great plays today. And even some of these bench guys I don't mind either. Like Terrence Davis, he's going to come off the bench. It's tough to tell how many minutes he plays. He only played 10 minutes last game after coming back from an ankle injury, but he did play 32 minutes the game before that. I think he's a bit riskier, but if he does get the minutes, he's shown that he has the upside. Stanley Johnson did start last game. He played 27 minutes, played 36 minutes the game before that. If Stanley Johnson's going to start here and play about 25 to 30 minutes, for $3,800, he's another value play we can consider. DeAndre Bembry, he did start last game. He played 37 minutes. He wasn't that productive, but if he's going to start and play big minutes for $3,800, he's another viable cheap option. So there's really just a lot of guys that are in play from Toronto. Definitely the top 4, though, Lowry, Powell, Boucher, and Aaron Baines. Those are my favorite guys on the Raptors today. On the Hornets side, though, really not much I like here. I think everyone's appropriately priced. Nobody feels like too cheap or anything. Devontae Graham at 5K, that feels too cheap, but he just hasn't been playing well lately. He only got 18 minutes last game. We just don't know how many minutes he's going to get. So even at 5K, it's hard to play Devontae Graham at that salary, even at that salary, just because we don't know how much he's going to play. If you told me we were getting 30 minutes from Devontae Graham, I would love him, but I just don't think we're going to get that. I have no idea if that happens. LaMelo's $8,600. Obviously, LaMelo has massive upside every night, but he feels appropriately priced. I just don't really like much on Charlotte. Basically, all my exposure in this game is going to come from the Toronto side. So moving on to the next one, Milwaukee and Washington. Great spot here for these Bucks guys against the Wizards. Normally when this team is fully healthy, Giannis is the guy that I look to, and I don't really play anyone else on Milwaukee, especially not on a bigger slate. So I don't see too much I like here outside of Giannis. I think Giannis is one of the best pay-up options on the slate if you can get him in. Right now, the value, we have some value, but there's not any standout cheap plays that project super, super well. It may be a little bit tougher to get to Giannis on this slate. It depends if, any value opens up as the day goes on. But obviously against Washington, a bad defensive team, a team that plays really fast. As long as this game can stay close and Giannis gets his full minutes, I mean, he has massive upside here. So I do like Giannis quite a bit. Chris Middleton at 8K, though, I'm not the biggest fan of. Drew Holiday's price is, really nice at 6,500, but just has not been playing well lately. Only got 25 minutes last game. I know it was a blowout. I don't think he's going to play like 37 minutes today. He'll probably get like 30 to 32 if I had to guess. I just don't want to go to Drew Holiday on this slate. I don't want to, play him and hope he gets the minutes. I'd just rather get to Giannis. I'm really not going to be looking to anyone on Milwaukee outside of Giannis here. So looking at the Wizards side and talking about Washington. So looking at Beal and Westbrook, normally when this team is fully healthy, I've said it before, guys, like these are the only two guys that I play. Once again, Beal and Westbrook are the only two guys I like from Washington today. This is a back-to-back, so that will be something to monitor. But lately, Westbrook has been playing on back-to-back, so I assume that he is going to play today. On this slate, I think these are probably not my favorite studs. Like I think there's other pay-up options I do prefer over Westbrook and Beal. But it is a fast-paced game. This is a game that should have a ton of points scored in it. Right now, the total. We don't have a total yet in this game, but I would assume the total is going to be pretty high. Blowout's a concern here, but if it can stay close and we get normal minutes for Westbrook and Beal, they do have plenty of upside. Just like I think I'd rather play Giannis. We're going to talk about Trae Young. I'd rather play Harden. I just don't know if Westbrook and Beal are going to be like priorities for me. I don't know if they're guys I'm going to get to, in one lineup. So I think we can go ahead and move on to the next game, Sacramento and Atlanta. So this is a very appealing game. Two pretty fast-paced teams. I'm pretty sure we have a high total here. Yeah, 239.5 total in this game. This is one we are definitely going to want to get some exposure to. Starting off on the Sacramento side, De'Aaron Fox, 9,200. Even at that pretty expensive price point, I think De'Aaron Fox is a really good pay-up option at point guard today. We know what we're getting from him on a nightly basis. He's going to play huge minutes as long as it's a close game. He's got massive upside. It's a great matchup. Fox could easily go for, close to 60 DK points here, and I would not be surprised. On the other side, I think I would rather play Trae Young over Fox if I can get the extra salary. But yeah, Fox is a really good option. I do like him a lot here. I don't know if I'm going to go to anyone else, though, in Sacramento. Like, I think Richaun Holmes is probably my next favorite guy. 6,400 for him. That does feel a little bit too cheap for the upside that he has. When Richaun Holmes is getting 34, 35 minutes, like, this is someone that can go out there and put up 40-plus fantasy points almost any night. It's a good matchup. It's a great game environment. It's a fast-paced game. Holmes, I do have some interest in, but Harrison Barnes, Buddy Hield, Halliburton, like, they all feel appropriately priced. Same with Marvin Bagley. If anything, Marvin Bagley, now that Halliburton is back, like I don't really want to pay $6,100 for Bagley. So on the Sacramento team, it's De'Aaron Fox and Richaun Holmes for me. I think those are the two guys I really do like from Sacramento. But looking at Atlanta here, the Hawks are a pretty appealing team, especially Trae Young. Trae Young I do like a lot today. 9,800 on DK. He feels appropriately priced. I think he doesn't really stand out as a top option at 9,800. I think if he was like 9K today, he would be super chalky. I think his price being almost close to 10K is going to definitely keep his ownership down, and I do like that quite a bit. Now on Yahoo, I think Trae Young's going to be a lot more popular there. He is super cheap on Yahoo. I don't know why, but he's only $39. Like, that's way too cheap for Trae Young in this matchup. Sacramento, they've been playing super fast this year. They've been a very bad defensive team, one of the worst defensive teams overall in the league. You could really not ask for a better matchup here for Trae Young. We know we're getting from him as well, 36, 38 minutes a night. He's been a guy that literally can go out there and put up 45, 50 fantasy points just about every night. I mean, he's shown a very high floor this season. I would say early on in the season, Trae Young was kind of inconsistent, but he's been a lot more consistent lately. At least 50 fantasy points in, I believe, 7 of his last 10 games, he has at least 50 fantasy points, so just been super, super consistent. Obviously, at 9,800, I'm looking for close to 60 from Trae Young, and I think he does have that kind of upside in him in this really good matchup, in this fast-paced game. So, love Trae Young here. I think he is going to be lower owned than he should be on this slate. He is someone I really like from Atlanta today. And then Clint Capella, in this good matchup, I think is a really good center option at 7,500. Does feel a little bit too cheap, given how bad defensively Sacramento is. Capella, his minutes have been somewhat down lately, but I think most nights we're going to get like 32, 34 minutes from Capella at 7,500. I do like him. John Collins, it's just hard to trust John Collins. Like, we don't know what we're getting from him in basically any night. I mean, he could go out there and put up 45 fantasy points. He could put up 25. Like, the range of outcomes on John Collins so far this year has just been so wide. Like, it's tough to trust him, but it's a good matchup. It's a great game environment. I would not be surprised to see, a random ceiling game from John Collins here. So in tournaments at super low ownership, he's someone you could look to. But really, I think it's definitely Trae Young. It's Clint Capella. Those are the two guys I like most from Atlanta. Don't see too much else, though, on this team. So moving on to the next game, Portland and Minnesota. So in Portland today, there are some guys I do have interest in from Portland. It is a really good matchup against the Timberwolves. Damian Lillard at 10,700. On this slate, I think I'd rather play Giannis. I think I'd rather play Harden, Trae Young. There's other pay-up options I do prefer over Lillard, but, Lillard's been so good lately. With CJ McCollum out, he's going to continue to dominate the usage, going to continue to play massive minutes every night. I mean, I don't need to tell you that Damian Lillard's a good option here. It's just, how do you prioritize him over the other studs? And I think there's other guys I'd rather play over Lillard just straight up today. But, yeah, it's a really good matchup. It's a great game environment. It's another fast-paced game. I do have some interest in Damian Lillard for sure at 10,700. Now, Enes Kanter at 7,200. I think I'd probably rather play Capella for a little bit more over Kanter, but, Kanter's a solid option as well at center. Robert Covington, though, I do like quite a bit. 5,600, that does feel a little bit too cheap for Covington, to help fill a power forward position. I do like him at power forward today. On Yahoo, I think he does look a little bit too cheap there as well, coming in at $22. Look, Covington's just been super good lately. He's been playing huge minutes, and that's something we love to see. Last 4 games, he's played at least 34 minutes. He's played at least 37 in 3 of their last 4. He's been scoring pretty well lately, and the rebounds have been, really high for Covington. He's basically been, a double-double. He's been someone that can give you a double-double almost any night. We know he's always a guy that can go out there and get those defensive stats. On Yahoo, those are huge on Yahoo because they're worth 3 points, steals, and blocks. But even on DK, you do get 2 points for the defensive stats. But I like Covington quite a bit here. He's been the backup center lately for Kanter. Basically, when Kanter subs out, Covington's in there. Covington's been their backup center, which does help his fantasy production overall. We know the minutes are going to be through the roof in a good matchup against Minnesota and what should be another fast-paced game. I think Robert Covington, this could definitely be one of those games where we get 20 and 10 from him with a couple steals, couple blocks. He could easily put up 40-plus DK points, and I would not be surprised. So at 5,600, definitely think Robert Covington is a little bit too cheap, just for what his role is right now on this Portland team. And then these other guys like Gary Trent, Carmelo Anthony, I'm not as interested in. I think it's definitely Dame, Covington, and then Kanter's fine as well. Those are the 3 guys I really like from Portland. But looking at Minnesota here, on Minnesota, Karl-Anthony Towns at 9,600. I do like that price quite a bit on Karl-Anthony Towns. Again, we have to think about the other studs. We can't play all these pay-up options, but man, 9,600 does feel too cheap for Cat here. He did get a big price bump down to 9,600. He's been, in that 10K range basically for his last, I don't know how long. I mean, he's been in the 10K range for the last 4 games, but he's been struggling lately. Blowouts have kind of killed him too. This is a really good matchup, though, against Portland. Enes Kanter has never been known to be a good defender. Honestly, he's one of the worst defensive centers. This is a matchup that Cat should have a ton of success in. Again, though, we have Giannis, we have Harden, we have Trae Young, we have De'Aaron Fox. There's so many good stud options today, and we can't play all of them. But I think Cat's another guy you could throw into the mix. If you can pay up at center, I think he is one of the best pay-up options overall at the position, if you can get to him. Anthony Edwards, though, at 6,500, I do like him quite a bit. Now, again, I think I'd probably rather play Norman Powell for a little bit more salary, but we got 37 minutes from Anthony Edwards last game. I'm pretty sure he was the backup point guard. Basically, with Jordan McLaughlin out, they used Anthony Edwards as their backup point guard, and that was pretty good for his fantasy production overall. The usage, though, with Malik Beasley out lately has just been through the roof for Edwards, taking at least 20 shots in 5 straight games. He's going out there and scoring at will. I mean, he can get rebounds, he can get assists. Anthony Edwards has a ton of upside, even at 6,500. Honestly, he should be closer to 7K. He's a guy that should be priced around 7K right now. With how many minutes he's getting, with how much upside he has in a good matchup against Portland, I do like Anthony Edwards quite a bit. Ricky Rubio, not as high on. Jalen Noel, I do want to talk about, though. He was a big beneficiary last game with Jordan McLaughlin out. He got 28 minutes off the bench. He played insanely well. He shot incredibly well. It was definitely a bit of an outlier performance from Jalen Noel, but this is someone that has shown he can be productive when he does get minutes. I think with Jordan McLaughlin out again, we probably are going to get mid to high 20s minutes from Jalen Noel. The price did rise a good amount to 4,600, but I think he is still in play on this slate. He is someone I still do have some interest in. With no Malik Beasley, no Russell, no McLaughlin, there's a lot of guard minutes available, and I do expect, Jalen Noel to get a good amount of those. So on Minnesota, there's a good amount I like on the Timberwolves today. I think my two favorite plays are definitely like Anthony Edwards and probably Cat, but Jalen Noel's viable as well. Those three guys I have a good amount of interest in from Minnesota. I don't think I'm going to be going to anyone else though on this Timberwolves team. So going ahead and moving on to the next one, Indiana and Phoenix. So on Indiana today, Karis LeVert is expected to make his debut for the Pacers, so this is pretty interesting. At 7,100, I don't see any reason why we would play him today. I assume he's going to be on a minutes restriction, but it'll be interesting to see how Karis LeVert plays in his first game, back in a while. He had like kidney surgery. I mean, it's pretty crazy that LeVert's already able to play right now. It's honestly kind of, it's a little bit of a miracle, I would say, but yeah, I mean, LeVert coming back with him now active and playing, that's going to hurt Sabonis and Brogdon a little bit. I don't think it's going to affect them too much, but in a pretty bad matchup against Phoenix and, in what should be a pretty slow-paced game, I don't like much from this Indiana team at all. Brogdon at 7,500, sure you could play him, but so many other guys I think I'd rather target. This Pacers team is just not that appealing of a team on this slate, not a team I have much interest in at all. And kind of the same could be said for Phoenix. Devin Booker right now is probable. He's expected to play. Again, like this Phoenix team, everyone feels appropriately priced. DeAndre Ayton, he does feel a little bit too cheap, but he's just been so bad lately. Like, we just don't know what we're getting from DeAndre Ayton. He's been losing minutes, too. Like, Dario Saric has been playing a good amount off the bench. Like, even at 6,300, I don't know if I can really go to Ayton on this slate. It's so hard to trust him right now. Kind of like John Collins. Like, you just don't know what you're getting from Ayton on a nightly basis. This is not that appealing of a game. I mean, there is not much I like here at all. Sarge, he has been playing more. He's been getting more minutes off the bench with really taking minutes away from Ayton. I should say, 4,200. If he's going to play mid to high 20s minutes, maybe you could go there. But I just don't like much here. I think this is another game that I'm just not that interested in at all. So we can go ahead and talk about the last one on the slate, Dallas and Denver. So on Dallas today, with this Mavs team, when they're fully healthy, with Luka and Porzingis, back for this one, I don't like too much on Dallas here outside of Luka and Porzingis. And I think on this slate, in this matchup against the Nuggets, Luka and Porzingis are just lower-owned contrarian options. There's other studs I'd rather have over Luka. There's other guys that, power forward I'd rather play over Porzingis today. I don't really like much at all from Dallas here. If I was going to play anyone, it would be those two guys. But like Brunson, Hardaway, Richardson, these guys are all, priced appropriately. If not, they're all overpriced, now that Luka and Porzingis are back. So moving on to the Denver side and looking at the Nuggets, we do have Jokic on this slate. Jokic, he's someone I always like paying up for. He's, one of my favorite players in the league. He's a guy that I've rostered a ton this year. Again, though, like I think I'd rather play Giannis. I think I'd rather play Harden, Trae Young, De'Aaron Fox, even Cat for $1,200 less. Like, I just don't know if Jokic is going to be someone I get to, especially if I'm only playing one lineup. If you're playing a lot of lineups, I would definitely have Jokic in my player pool without a doubt. Just don't know if I get there in my one lineup. Same with guys like Jamal Murray, MPJ, Will Barton. Like, these late night games are just not appealing. Right now, there isn't much I like in these late night games. I think a lot of my exposure today is going to come to Toronto. I really like these Toronto guys once again. Really like the Sacramento Atlanta game. I like the Portland Minnesota game. There's some guys in Milwaukee Washington that I like, mainly Giannis. But yeah, that's kind of the way I'm approaching this slate right now. Not too much I like in those late night games. Not too much I like in the Detroit Brooklyn game outside of Harden, Delon Wright, maybe Kyrie. Yeah, I think that's kind of it, guys. I think we broke everything down team by team. Just gave my early thoughts on this slate. Things are going to change, likely going to change throughout the day. It seems like every slate lately, there's been some news that comes out throughout the day that just changes things. If I do stream this afternoon, we can break everything down once again in the live stream. I'm not sure yet if I'm going to be streaming, but if I do go live, I'll probably be live around 4 Eastern time if you want to tune in. But yeah, anyways, guys, I appreciate you watching. Hit that like button before you do get out of here. Hit the subscribe button as well. Click the notification bell so that way you do get notified every time I upload, and you also get notified every time I do go live. But yeah, guys, best of luck tonight. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you did enjoy. We will see you in the next one. Good luck, guys. Peace.